Thank you very much. Good evening. My name's Richard Peacock. I'm Chief Executive of Soha Housing, which is a housing association. Do you know what council housing is? Who doesn't know what council housing is? Nobody. Does everybody know what a housing association is? Yes? Everybody does. Excellent. We're a housing association that was formerly owning council housing. We transferred in 1997. We bought 5,000 units from what was South Oxfordshire District Council and became an independent organisation. The role of housing associations really has grown dramatically because of the economics of this country, and the fact is that they've been encouraged because we can develop more homes more cheaply because we are technically in the private sector, and therefore we can borrow money. And that's really, been a major problem for councils for many, many years. That is possibly reversing in the very near future, but that's how it has been for about 20 years. What we're about, though, is very, very similar to council housing. We're about housing people in need, primarily. We own now 5,200 homes. We let about 350 new homes a year. This year we'll build about 160 new homes. So we are an expanding organisation that's providing real homes for people in housing need. We also now work outside the boundaries of what used to be our old boundary of South Oxfordshire, and we have about 40 homes up on the hill there at Barton, and we do now develop in Swindon and High Wycombe. But we are very keen to retain local housing management. It's very important to us that we can manage homes locally and be there when our tenants need us. In terms of the work we do, it's critical that we are concerned with inclusive societies. I think about 20% of my time is concerned with bricks and mortar, maybe 30. The rest of it is about relations with our customers, with our tenants, with our stakeholders. And it's all about really ensuring that we help develop our aim, which is to build inclusive and well-functioning communities. And that's really the principal aim that we've got. We demonstrate that, I think, throughout our staffing and throughout our board. We have a board of 12 that manages, a very similar board to yours. And we're very proud, actually, that 4 of the board members are tenants, which we see is very important indeed. So a quarter of the board are tenants. And also at the moment, our chair is also a tenant, which we think says a lot about the organisation. So we're concerned to build good relations with the communities that we serve. We're concerned to also have clear accountability. As I say, whilst we're not like council housing as such, we do have similar roles and responsibilities. And in fact, our governors, our regulators, now called the Tenant Services Authority, formerly the Housing Corporation, the Tenant Services Authority will now regulate housing associations, and from next year will regulate councils as well. So council housing and housing association housing will be governed, as it were, by the same organisation, which I think is excellent news. Some of the small things that we're doing to help build inclusion, I think I just want to mention, if I may. Firstly, of course, we've got a raft of strategies, which most semi-public sector organisations have to have. But beneath that, we do have gender equality action plans, disability equality action plans, and race equality action plans. We think they're quite good, but actually, I would like perhaps, Patrick, some help from your organisation about looking at those, because I think that's something that we could perhaps work together on going forward, and we would welcome that involvement. We spent a lot of time and effort training our staff in terms of understanding their roles to help develop inclusive societies. And last year we did something a bit different in that we employed a theatre group to help train on diversity and black and minority ethnic issues. It was very good, it was very different. We've had a lot of training over the years on this, and I think some people do think, oh yes, we've heard that before, we understand the laws, and we wanted to freshen up our refresher training actually, and it was very good, excellent. If anybody wants to know about that, happy to talk to them afterwards. The other thing that we're doing at the moment is spending a lot of time and effort on collecting information about our residents so we can personalise the service going forward. We're collecting a lot of information from, obviously, clearly names, addresses, ethnicity, who comprises the household, but also educational attainment and whether people need help with basic educational skills as well. So we're collecting that information as well as other disability information, and we're then putting in a new computer system in the next couple of months, which will mean that when our customers ring us, we will know immediately whether that person is perhaps hard of hearing and then that means that we'll then be able to use that information when we're asking our contractors to go out and visit homes, to perhaps not loudly, if that's the case. So we want to try and personalise the service more than we have perhaps in the past. Clearly there's data issues as well, because we're getting a lot of confidential information and we need proper practice and procedures to make sure that some information is not available to all staff. The other thing that we're doing is trying to ensure proportional representation, and I'm happy to say that our board is representative. Our staff isn't yet, disappointingly, and that's something that we are working on. We also have a gender imbalance at our board level, and we currently have an advert out as we speak for a new board member, and we're particularly anxious to see female applications. So, if anybody's interested in that, again, please contact me. We'd be happy to talk about that. The other thing we're doing with our residents, and I think quite successfully, is helping build their confidence in engaging with us, helping get their voice heard. And one of the things that we did last year was enabled our tenants to run a major conference actually here in Oxford, which was attended by tenants from all around the country, to help demonstrate some of the good practice we're doing in terms of building an inclusive society. And we had a guest speaker from Bradford actually, who spoke very well on the work that they've done there, and that went down very well with our residents. They learned a lot. Some other small things, we're trying to encourage people to read more about us and what we do, and small things are important, aren't they? 60% of our tenants are over 60, so that's our regular newsletter with an older person on it. But now we have a younger version as well, with a younger person on it as well. Zeno is actually disabled as well. So inside, very similar, but hopefully attractive to different people to get them to open the magazine. Okay, I think just a final point. I want to say that we want help from your organisation. We particularly want help in terms of how to contact disparate diverse groups, particularly in rural areas. I've been at Soha now for 10 years as Chief Executive. Formerly I was had the honour of being Director of Housing here at City Council. So I had 20 years at a senior level in Oxfordshire, and it is in some ways harder in rural areas to access diverse groups, and particularly black minority groups, and I'd like to talk about that actually, because that's a real problem for us. We do have stock in the city, but of course we have a lot in the hinterland from here to Henley to Tame. That's something that concerns us, that we could develop better practice on, I think. The other thing that concerns me is, of course, the prejudices and perceptions that are out there. And we have an example, I think, last week, didn't we, where a lot of people seem to be saying, at least it was getting a lot of airplay on the radio, that white people aren't getting fair access to social housing. And in fact, the report was just published, I think, in the last few days by the Commission for Equality and Human Rights. I've got a copy here, which actually says very clearly there was no evidence that allocation policies discriminated against white groups. And that does seem to be getting lost in the noise that's going on, I guess, in the build-up to the general election, perhaps next year. So that's something I think we need to work with our tenants on to help build an understanding there. We need to help engage more with diverse communities, which I've said, and we need to our staff to appreciate that working with diverse communities is actually fun and is enriching. And I think we're getting somewhere with that task. You said, what did I want from Oracle or the new organisation? I think what I want is help and advice from you, actually, from your organisation. I think we can do some good work together on that. And what I'd offer in return is the time of my organisation and the energy and the staff. We've got a number of staff, more than you, and we're out there all the time. And I think together we can get better access. But we do want your help I think, around policies and around best practice, and we welcome that. Okay, thank you very much.